It is really sad to watch a grown man fail high school economics, but here we are.
Go watch her video as she explains how money flows, how it is that when you spend money, it actually multiplies quite well. This is actually the perfect segue into something I want to talk about, but I think this is going to be a better way of kind of easing into that. So she basically makes the point that $100 becomes $500, or that comment was showing that, and she explains how that is. Now, we have a little bit different of a system right now, which is the wealthy are hoarding the money. They're not spending it. They don't spend it on the economy. They take it, they hold on to it, or they put it back into financial institutions, but it doesn't actually go anywhere, right? So if a billionaire takes, we'll say, $1 million and he puts it in a bank, that's not going to pay the employees. If he puts it in the stock market, it's not paying those companies. If he invests anywhere else, it's not getting returned back in. This has been the whole premise people are talking about. So to break that down simply, they're not doing it. If you gave the common person $1 million, it would multiply because they're going to have to buy all the things they need, right? And so let's say for a minute that everybody was perfect at budgeting. We're just going to put that out there, that they're perfect at budgeting. Then their money would be pre-spent for the next X amount of years. It would definitely wave out. Even if they weren't perfect at budgeting, the majority of people aren't that dumb with money. They can get the most of it done. And so all that money they're going to spend is going to help the economy. And I know a lot of you are like, well, how? How would they do that? The rich are the ones creating jobs. No, the rich are not creating jobs. The rich may own businesses, but they don't create jobs. Unless there's money that is going to the people to spend on that business, it's not going to be coming back in. It's not going to work that way. So, for example, let's look at the things that people look at and want to do in America. Amusement parks. I like to use those as an advantage, an example. Let's look at Universal Studios, Orlando or California. Okay, in order for them to pay the employees and to cycle that money through the local economies, people have to go to that park and spend money. Okay, and it's not enough that you spend money at just getting the tickets to the park. They also want you to buy concessions, souvenirs, stuff like that, things that you should want to do. Not all aspects of wanting to buy things is bad. Some people, I find it more so on the left, really want to demonize the buying of things. And I get it. I understand why. I used to think that way. Because if buying things is equivalent of capitalism bad, buying things bad. But it is okay to want to buy things, collectibles, souvenirs, food, any of that. But in order for those things to happen, the common populace needs to have money to do so. All right. So we're going to talk some bigger numbers here, and we're going to go back to COVID. So I want to put this out here. If you don't know what the population numbers are, I had to look this up. So the U.S. population currently sitting is 331.9 million people. That estimate I found was as of 2021. So we're going to use that number. And I am looking at a set of text I made here. So the number of people that make less than $100,000 in the United States is 65%. Okay? That's the number. The amount of people who make between 100,000 and 150,000 is 15%. There's your majority of Americans. The average American, we're going to say average, just focusing on that 65%. Your average American is not clearing even 100,000. And a lot of them are making sub 70. Okay, so your majority is not making what we consider middle class pay at this point. Okay, so looking at that, let's look at what happened during COVID. Everybody got like what, a $2,000 check and maybe some little bits here and there. Not much to do anything with. A lot of people were still drowning in debt and had other issues. So I ran the numbers, and here's my argument. Okay, if you want to spur the economy, if you really want to spur the economy and make things better, you have to give people the opportunity to get out of bad situations financially. Okay. Everybody's not going to be perfect at it. And that saying that, well, not everybody's going to be good at it is not a reason not to do this. Okay. So I ran the numbers on the 65%. By the way, that's 216.8 million people. That 15% number we're talking about is 49.6 million people. Okay. So total amount of people making less than 150,000 a year is 264.8 million people. And I came up with an idea for you that I know a lot of people are going to laugh at, and I'll tell you why it's not that absurd in a minute, but go ahead and laugh away here. We should just give everybody $2,000 per month tax free. Okay. You don't tax it. They get it regardless. And I know a lot of you are like, that's a lot. And so I put that on the entire percentage of people from 150,000 and under. And that number came up to, for 264.8 million people, it came up to $6.3 trillion. Now, I know what you're saying. You're like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. That's impossible. It would break this country. And I'll tell you why it won't in a minute. But before you laugh at me for that, I want you to keep in mind that all the money that was given out during COVID was $4.6 trillion. I looked it up. That's the relief we provided. The majority of that was for businesses. The actual amount of checks that went to people was not close. Not to that. That money went to businesses, some of which are failing now if you're watching the news, even though they got that stimulus. And some of those businesses got billions. Not a couple thousand, they got millions to billions of dollars, okay? So $4.6 trillion went to business. And if we would have spent that 4.5 trillion on that percentage I talked about, then the 80% of, the majority of people making under 150,000 a year would have had $17,371 about, plus or minus some change here and there. Okay. So what could you have done with that much money? And so when you say, oh, it's a bad idea, we can't give it to the people. If $100 would have turned into 500 under what she was talking about, then we would have stimulated the economy. And this isn't just my theory. This has been purported for a universal minimum wage, like basic income that you get, right? People would still be paying taxes on things, even if you gave them money tax free. They'd pay taxes when they buy tickets to events they want to go to, when they eat at a restaurant, when they do all of that. Not to mention people would be freer to tip, to pay extra for things, go to the movies more often. Every industry that is failing is a result of the money hoarding. People don't want to go to theaters very much anymore. Why? Tickets are too expensive. They don't want to buy concessions from the theater. Why? They're too expensive. But if people have more money in their pocket, they will spend on all these things. So if you gave people $24,000 a year, $2,000 a month, just for a year, doesn't have to be every year, just for a year, they'd be able to pay off debts. They'd be able to do things they want to do because they have the money to plan for that. Yeah, some people are going to spend it badly, but it's still spent. Don't you understand that? The money's still spent. It's going back into the economy. You would see in that year everything spur greatly. And the unpopular portion, how do we pay for that? Well, on the one hand, I'm just quick to say we didn't ask the businesses to pay for it. They asked the American taxpayer to. But how do we pay for it? Start taxing some of the billionaires. That'll offset some of it. And the people spending the money in the economy will do the rest. And it's not like this is absurd, because even without just handing people money, when money went further, this is how things were better in the 40s and the 50s. Because people had more money to spend to do things. But a lot of families can't even take a trip to Disneyland, Universal Studios. A vacation is a dream for them now. It's not something they could do during a summer. To give you an example, me and my partner right now, we went to Universal Studios Orlando. It took us years to save for that trip, and we have not been back or done any trips like that since. So for all the things in this country that are falling apart, aren't working, and you guys are complaining about support business, you need to start giving people the money to do so. That's it, plain and simple. So, 6.3 trillion to 4.6, I think the 6.3 would have done better. Hell, even the 4.3 trillion would have been better spent by giving it to the people. And if you make above 150K, good for you. You don't need that money. There are too many people struggling. 24,000 a year, somebody could pay their car off. Somebody could get the maintenance done on the car they need. I mean, I can go on and on with this. You guys are free to leave your comments for what you would do if you had an extra $24,000 in the year, or knew you were getting $2,000 tax-free per month, what you would do. That's my proposition. And I don't think there's any good reason why we should not do that.